Welcome to Driver's Therapy. In today's video, we have a little bit of drama, a little bit of controversy. Well, not really, because we have a stock twin turbo Supra and we have a fully built single Supra. And guys, we're going to talk about the differences. We're going to talk with here Chris about his journey from going to stock to the fully built side of it, the ups, the downs. And so you can learn about the journey about that. So let's go ahead and kick that off and start with Chris.
Well, I picked her up in Vegas about 3 years ago. It was a one owner car. I'm the second owner. Bought it from a gentleman who had to dump his car collection so he could buy his Tesla. And his wife said the Supra's got to go, and found it on Craigslist. Had 63,000 miles when I bought it. It was actually the first Supra in Vegas in '93.
Oh, cool.
And looked at it online, flew out, drove it home, and it was fine.
The cool thing though, and the reason why we thought that this would be an amazing video is because Chris's Supra is far from stock. I mean, when you see everything, you're gonna be like, okay. And my Supra is stock. So I was talking to Chris, you know, we met and I was thinking like mine is all stock, his is modified. And to be honest with you, most of everybody's goal is to go heavily modified single turbo. And to be honest with you, you know, even though I'm still stock, it's something that I'll also want to do. But you brought something up that it's not as easy as a process.
No,
it's not as the grass isn't greener.
No,
100%.
No, it's usually dead on the other side. It was it was one of those. Once you open Pandora's box, it's just all these things, you know, you get online, you read about Supras, everybody, oh, I gotta have the Supra, I can do all this stuff, and it's so easy, and it makes it sound like you ordered $5 grand worth of parts, and then you spend a weekend in the garage, and you come out, and you got some 1,000 wheel horsepower monster, and that's not the case at all. I mean, I don't know how your impression was on reading online, but when I first got it and I read about it, I was like, oh, that's like so easy, I can just do that, no problem.
I'm guilty.
And, yeah, and it's not, man. It was a whole saga, and having good buddies and having people let me use their garage and help me out and giving me breaks on parts and labor and stuff like that. I mean, I did a lot of the work myself, but it was still, it was not it's not like changing a tire or changing an air filter or something like that. You know, it's a lot, it's really involved.
Well, I really want to jump in and see these cars. So we're going to go ahead and pop these hoods open, and we want to see what you've got done here. So
sure.
I'm going to pop your hood, I'll pop my hood, and I think it'd be a pretty cool thing to do. You know, this almost felt like it was a Le Mans race. It's like,
gotta run, jump in the car.
All right, Chris, tell us about this build.
All right, so I had some friends that were upgrading because apparently 800 wheel horsepower wasn't enough for them. So I had some buddies hook me up with some parts. Got a Borg-Warner S372 turbo. I've got a Pro EFI 128 standalone. I've got a 5-row intercooler. I've got 2200 cc injectors running E85 injector dynamics. I've got a DOC T4 divided manifold, exhaust manifold on it, custom downpipe, 60 millimeter tile wastegate, and a 50 millimeter tile blow-off valve, custom intercooler piping, Mishimoto radiator, a transmission cooler because it does run a little bit warm. And then, like I said, the stage 3 ATF tranny and the 4,000 RPM stall torque converter.
Not a bad way to spend $15,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's being conservative.
I had to bust out the Fast and Furious.
No, it's all right.
You know when the guys say, like, the mad scientist?
Put 15 grand into this thing.
I don't know, but you're in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was a labor of love for sure. You know, I had a friend who helped me build it out in Fort Morgan, Colorado. He did a lot of the manufacturing work.
What was his name?
His name was Dustin Morris.
Nice.
And
Dustin.
he didn't shout out to Dustin. He does good work. And he did the collet cut for the intake, and he did the collet cut on the downpipe. And I dropped it off there. He was the one who took off the stock twins, which apparently is a complete nightmare. And I was doing the fuel system on the other side, installing a fuel rail, installing the injectors. Dustin did some of the wiring for the fuel pumps. We're running a dual Walbro 450 E85s wired and they're staged, so that's a nice bonus.
But that's cool that you're a part of the build, but you also had somebody that was helping. That you did it as a friend, so it makes it a little extra special.
Absolutely. Like I could do he would be like, do this, try this. And I knew how to work on cars a little bit, but once you really start messing and taking things apart, getting it back together isn't as easy as, I'll just put that there.
So coming from somebody who's stock right now, and I've done just research, like you say, you're at home, you're doing your homework. I jump on a Powerhouse Racing website, and I'm looking at the Street Tour kit with the 6266, and I'm thinking, oh, this looks like it's pretty easy. I just slap it on and I move on with my life. But since you've been from that starting point to the finish point, what would you say was the hardest part besides the money?
I was going to say, coming out, the hardest part was having it be gone for so long. It starts off, and she wasn't running for at least 6 months. I missed most of the summer last year just because it wasn't running properly, and that turned out to be a fuel injection problem. There was a fuel injector that was leaking, and it was actually, I was sold fake fuel injectors.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I bought them from a buddy, and he said they worked fine and they needed to be clean, so we sent them off to Injector Dynamics, and they said, these are our bodies, but these aren't our internals. We don't know what this is. So it was a counterfeit fuel injector.
That's crazy. I've actually talked to people about that.
Yeah, it's like a big deal. It's a business. So
it is. It really is. And I think that could be a whole hour discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry that happened to you. I've run into the same issue. Mm-hmm. I'm very passionate about it. And I think that there needs to be more awareness about that.
Yeah. So, but being without it was tough. I've taken intake manifolds apart before. I have my 87 4Runner, and it's a 22R, and pulling that thing off, that's easy. But the Supra is real tight. The engine bay is really tight. I have scars all over my hands from taking the intake manifold off, trying to get to the fuel rail. And, it was, the hardest part was really just, how do you build it in a realistic, efficient way, rather than install one component and then you get another component and, I probably should have just put these both in at the same time, things like that. Trying to figure out how much to remove, how much to, because we didn't pull the motor out. And that would be my recommendation.
Just doing it all on the
yeah, exactly. Just leaning over, and that would be my recommendation if I was doing it. I just yanked the engine.
Getting those chiropractors rich.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. Tell me about the drivability, because it is very interesting. A lot of people see these on the roads, they see them racing, but what happens when you're completing this project? What happens behind the scenes?
Yeah, so I was naive, and I'm like, I'm gonna run E85, that's no problem. That's not a big deal. And I used to live on the Front Range where you could get E85 everywhere, and then after moving to Junction, it's not a lot of E85 stations. So I had to learn how to make my own gas.
Not a lot of everything.
Yeah. I had to learn how to make my own gasoline. So, you cut it with 80, so you buy 98 and you cut it with 87, and I have an ethanol tester. It's kind of cool. It kind of adds to the fun. But, if you've got an eighth of a tank of gas and your buddy Dave calls you and says, we're going to go drive up and go check out the canyons, you're like, well, give me 2 hours to make gasoline.
Oh.
I can only do it in 5-gallon increments.
You got to be careful with that stuff.
And you got to be careful. You don't want to spill it. It's corrosive. It's, that's one of the things I didn't think about. And, it's not a huge deal. It's just, it's not as easy as just hopping in, going and saying, I need to get gas. I'll just pull over, get some 91, and away we go. It's just another step, and that kind of leads me to that point I was telling you earlier, where it's like, you have to drive a vehicle like this, you have to be much more involved. It becomes more visceral and less, rather sporty and spirited driving. It becomes a more visceral experience, like riding a sport bike.
I made a video a few weeks ago about why I kept mine stock, and essentially for me, it has to do more with, I'm not lazy, but I have like this, if I try to put an air filter in, it's going to take me 4 hours because tabs are going to break, and a gremlin's going to pop out and steal my air filter, and I'm going to have to chase it down. And so
they're known to do that.
And so I'm thinking, if it works, I'm going to leave it alone. And I really like that I could get in the car and drive anyway.
Yes.
But I think it's a cool difference Now that you're here, you know, I just listening to you, I mean, I can't really give advice to somebody who's built something, but could you switch the fuel type? Can you go back to pump gas?
Oh, yeah, I could. I just have to get a new tune for it, and I just
Okay.
have to get a. I've actually been thinking about that. Getting a, you know, it's a Pro EFI as a Pro EFI standalone, and they have an ethanol reader. It reads the percentage of your ethanol and adjusts the tune. So you know, if I wanted to just run 91 in it, I can install that and run a 91 tune, and then when I put ethanol in it, it'll detect the ethanol and adjust the tune on the fly. It was just one of those. You know, I didn't think about it when I was building it.
Yeah.
I was like, I live over here, there's E85 down the street, and that's it. But the practicality of it, after moving around, it's, oh, well, now I got to plan for this. And, you know, it becomes everything starts snowballing. It becomes a never-ending project where it's always, which is okay. I mean, that's why we get into this stuff, right?
Yeah,
but
and I think a lot of people see Supras, and this is a great video for you guys to see from stock to the coveted single setup. And what I'm getting is that it's worth it, but you're learning as you go.
correct.
And you're having to adjust. And it isn't all peaches because you have to put in the time and the effort and, of course, the money to get it to the way you want it to.
That's right.
So it's,
and also with this, the way this was built, this wasn't, you know, off-the-shelf kit that came with everything. I pieced this together based on what I had learned and what I had friends that had built ones and what they told me to do and how they told me to go about it and what they were using and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And, you know, and then it's like, I don't have a bottomless checkbook. So, you know, you got to kind of piece it together and hope that your puzzle pieces play well together and play nice together. So
no, absolutely. Well, I think you guys have to get your heart stolen as well. Can you turn it on for us?
absolutely.
All right.
Let's see if she starts.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, let's go stand back there so the mic can get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's got a pretty good little grumble on her.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I can smell that ethanol.
Oh yeah, it smells like French fries.
It's French fries.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds really good.
Thanks, man.
I mean, that just idle, and then you want to blip it?
Yeah, we can blip it a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been warmed up.
Yes.
It's not cold.
Well, guys, as you know, you're probably thinking which one is better, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I'm sticking to my guns, and I'm saying that the Supra full-powered, the sound steals my heart. Now, at the end of the day, I think either way you want to go, it's good. I'm happy with being able to drive mine anywhere in the country, but missing that sound makes me feel like I'm missing something as well. Either way, guys, I hope you guys learned something. I want to thank Chris for coming out.
Thank you.
You guys stay tuned, and we'll talk to you later.